ToyTractorTimes.com is the 2016 National Farm Toy Show in Dyersville, Iowa. We're here with Nick McRell, who is known for his business, McRell Model Farms, and he has a display here at the show with a lot of interesting equipment, and we'll take a look at what he's got here in this year's display.
Sure. So this year I put together a modular display board that I expect to hopefully add to over time, whether it may be a grain site or a home site, but I really just wanted to put together a common yard scene with a farm, showcasing a building that I put together a few years ago, and kind of slowly beginning to update it. Added a hydro swing door to it, and starting to work on weathering the shop floor in it. One of the things that I'm most happy about this building is the level of detail that I've got into it so far. I've added some insulation to the walls and things like that really I think sets itself apart or puts it in a category with other top buildings that are being made. But the biggest difference for my display is probably the red equipment. I wanted to do something different and really challenge myself. I've always stuck to the green equipment mainly because it's something that I'm comfortable with and I've been in, ridden in, been around, and it's easy for me. And so really challenged myself with the red equipment. As you can see, I built a couple of different combines. I built a 9230 and this 9120 that you're looking at now. Most of the work all on it is scratch built. As you can see, all the railings were built out of music wire. The rear end of it was all built out of styrene plastic. I also repainted the entire thing, made the rear axle steerable, and just added a few finishing touches to kind of help make it a true custom piece, and added some really nice decals to it as well.
It looks great. I really like the detail of that piano wire. You can see it's definitely more to scale and lifelike. Just looking at the side of the building here, we've got a whole countertop and doors, and then also John Deere parts lockers, which is a nice detail, and kind of a shop office and area here. And I also just liked on the outside how it kind of continues through the wall there, and you've got a door to the outside that way from the office area.
I wanted to really depict a up and coming farm, and as you look at farms, it's truly a business, and to have an office space and be able to utilize that on a farm, and the farmers that I work with, it's really important. So I just wanted to try and make it as realistic as possible, and obviously there's always details to add to your shop. The downfall of building a really large shop is having enough stuff to fill it to make it look totally realistic. But
well, we've got a garbage can here. That's something I don't think I've ever seen, the Herbie Kirby style garbage can, and we've got seed totes, and all the part shelves. And you had mentioned earlier, and I can see it back here, is the insulation in the walls, and so we can kind of look at that, and that is definitely a detail I've not seen put into a barn or a shop, but it's definitely insulated in between the wall. Now, looking at some of the other equipment, here we've got a versatile 256 bidirectional with a silage plant bucket on it, and that's a really nice piece. And then what kind of grain cart do we have here?
So this is a 3D printed Balzer 1450 grain cart that was done by Circle C Farms, and I ended up purchasing the kit and finishing it out. Really happy with how it turned out.
It looks great, and got a 620 quad track. And as we kind of come back to the other side of the yard here, I just wanted to also point out that you've got the sandblaster and a drill press here, and it's just great detail. So what kind of equipment do we have outside?
So we got a few different things. I'm depicting a larger scale farm, so they run their own dry tender to spread fertilizer, and they've got a set of pop-up tanks, and they actually.
So here, well, I guess we'll look back here. Now, where do the pop-up tanks come from? Or?
So those are also a 3D printed file from Circle C Farm Toys that I bought and finished. And you look at larger farmers that want on-farm storage, pop-up tanks are the way to go. Whether it's 32% or starter for their planter, it's so common now, and it's just a really neat small detail piece that can really just add to a farm.
And then we've got the Wilmar side shooter, and is this a 3D printed piece as well? Or?
Yep, this is a 3D printed piece. I actually bought this off of Dave Deschardins, and really just been around fertilizer equipment all my life, and just one of the nicest 3D printed pieces that I've been able to add to my collection.
And just kind of moving up here, we've got a John Deere R-Series dry fertilizer spreader, and it's interesting because these are sprayers, but they can also be equipped with a dry box, and it's still got the sprayer boom holds on the sides. And was this something that you customized? Or?
Yeah, so this was something that it's got quite a few 3D printed parts. Freerix Farm Toys designed the tires and rims and the railing kit for it, as well as the tarp kit for the top of the spreader box, and then I utilized some other 3D printed parts for the spreader pan and things like that, and repainted it, added some detail paint, and really it's a really neat piece that hopefully I add the sprayer portion to it someday, but it's hard because it just looks so nice the way it is.
Right. And then we've got a very large auger here. What brand is that? And
so that's a Fertilizer auger, and I actually bought that. That's actually a scratch cast piece that Brian built. It's all out of brass that I've actually had for quite a few years, and it just fit my theme as I'm trying to depict a Nebraska farm. There's a lot of folks out there that have actually quite large bin setups, but don't have either an air system or an auger or a conveyor system. So they're using these large augers.
I meant to ask, what model is this? Is it a 4030 or a 4038?
So this one I believe is actually a 4030.
Okay.
If I do remember correctly, because I was actually swapping hoods to make sure that my sprayer over time is going to be a 4038.
Okay.
Just because they're more common in my part of the world.
Sure. Now we've got some, again, you said you were challenging yourself with a Case IH tractor, so we got a few sitting out here.
Yeah, yep. So I also went down the front wheel assist lineup, and I added a regular 380 and a MagnaTrack 380 to the lineup. Again, it's something that building 8Rs. It was always fun, and I felt confident in what I did, but I wanted to challenge myself. And fortunately, Aaron Jensen actually came out with some 3D printed flasher bars and mirrors for the Case models, and so they really just helped set off the pieces. And the 470 was just something that I wanted to have a wheeled and a quad track version if I was going to do an entire Case lineup, and so they just fit right into the build, and I think it turned out really well for what my expectations were for the farm.
And then this is an Oxbow dump cart back here.
Yeah, yep. So that's an Oxbow dump cart that was actually scratch built by Dan Severson. This piece I purchased a few years back along with an Oxbow picker and another cart to ultimately depict a seed corn harvest, and that's actually one of my next display boards that I'll be doing here for another upcoming show. Is I want to depict a seed corn harvest.
And then with all the good red equipment, we've got a Case IH 875 ripper, which is 3D printed by John Schaumburg, and another nice detail with the red lineup. Let's take a look at this Oxbow 8430.
Yeah, so this Oxbow 8430, Dan did an awesome job, and the only thing I changed or updated is I added a 3D printed 30-inch corn head that I had designed to really set it off and make it unique.
Can we see? I want to show people the detail of these. I mean, if we can see, it's got all the the gathering chains and the header and the auger. Now, do you also have the rollers under this one? Or?
Yeah, so this one I worked to try and get as highly detailed as possible. And so as you can see, like you said, there's gathering chains. You can actually see as you start turning it over, there's gathering chains, and then you've got the rollers as well. And then each snout is hollowed out just like the real thing. With this print, it's pretty simple. It's just everything comes separate, and I am able to pop it together after I get everything painted. But yeah, just a really, really nice piece that really just helps set off that custom combine or picker, harvester, what have you.
Very nice. And then along the gearing off lines, we've also got the folding horn head.
Yeah, so I also had the folding version drawn up. So this is a 16-row 30 folding head. Again, I decided that if I was going to have them drawn up for the farm, I kind of wanted to cover the whole gamut. So I did an 8, 12, and 16 row rigid, and then a 12 and 16 row folding.
Very nice. And so they'll flop right over.
Yeah, yep. It's pretty self-explanatory. Quite honestly, it works just like the real one. The folding mechanism was designed just like the real one, and then you just got to pop out the ram, and it looks just like the real one. So
very nice.
Yeah.
I know how it is to be little and want something.
Well, thank you for the tour of this farm and for bringing it out to the show to show a very nice building and a lot of nice custom pieces that people always enjoy seeing, and look forward to seeing what you add on in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Nick, I apologize.
Step back, Jack. He's trying to take a picture.